Hey Omar, what's going on, man? You ready to talk about how the Bengals got bucked last night?
Did they, or did they make the right call and play it safe?
I don't know. I know you and I have differing opinions on this. So let's talk about that and let's talk about what this means for fantasy moving forward and the players involved.
Look, there's you can see what the Bucks did last week with Kansas City on Monday night. They played it safe. There's granted they had Kansas City had a little bit more time, but Lamar had 38 seconds left, or Baltimore did, coming off four straight touchdowns. But look, either you stop him once in regulation and you win the game, or you have to stop him twice if you are taking the tie. He could possibly score regulation. He gets the ball back in overtime. So it's me, I would have gone for it. I thought it was the right call.
I disagree. I think last week, everybody kind of agreed that the Bucks made the wrong call, right? At least that's to me what it seemed like popular opinion was. So they don't display the faith. Um, they decide to just capitulate. It's one thing when you have Patrick Mahomes on one side of the field, right? I think it's a completely different thing when you have Lamar Jackson on the other side of the field. Sure, you've got the big playability, and you don't have Winfield or anyone even approximating him in your secondary. But at the same time, this is the Bengals, this is the Ravens, this is what they do. They've had some wild moments before. They had one just earlier this season. So I think you got to try and give yourself a chance to fight, right? You give
So
yourself 10
here's the
more
thing.
minutes of breathing room.
Um, Baltimore has scored four touchdowns on the last four possessions. That's crazy. I mean, obviously the Bengals defense for some reason has fallen off big time. I don't even know who they really lost. That they're this bad, but it's not like they were stopping Lamar. I know Justin Tucker's been kind of having an off year. That's another kicker that you probably want to drop in fantasy. He's not really worth it. There's definitely better ones you can
Yeah, no
find, but.
point. No point in waiting for him to the revival.
Yeah, not like he was a fantasy stud beforehand. They just scored too many touchdowns. But the point is, he can make a 65 yarder. He could make a 60-yard field goal. So that means the Ravens have to go what 25 yards in 38 seconds. That's very doable.
It's very doable, but it's also very possible that Lamar throws a wild interception, fumble,
Yes,
something along those lines.
he
And
has two picks this year.
you pretty much negate Derrick Henry in that situation.
Yeah, they
So,
gotta go Mark Andrews, Zay
so
Flowers.
you just said it. You said two things. You just said he has two picks this year, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And they just scored on four drives.
yep.
So what are the percentage chances that they go and do it again the fifth time?
Well, they
And
would have to
what
do it regardless. Either if they made the 2 point conversion, they still. I mean, Lamar still has 38 seconds. If they didn't, then the game's over.
Sure, sure. But you can at least play on you. Basically, you're all in on that moment.
Yeah,
You're all in on
yep.
that moment, and you have
The,
no other chances. I mean, onside kick, but really, I mean, who are we kidding? You're not gonna. What's the recovery chance of that?
but it was you're on the road. I think Tampa was on the road also. Tampa was huge underdogs to KC in KC. I think that they thought that was their last chance, to be honest. But Cincinnati was on the road. You just go for the win, man. Scared money don't make money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine if you're 5-4.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's my only hesitation with this, and this is why we're bringing it up, I guess, kind of for me in a fantasy um, perspective, is already got a losing record. You're fighting for 500.
Yeah.
They're potentially fighting for, first week bye. You're fighting for your season life. And I just think in that situation, you got to scrape and claw and you got to take little wins where you can. And if the win is like, okay, yeah, we extended by 10 minutes and we put it on Joe Burrow's back, then I roll with that. Not to mention, they just lost one of their best defenders as well.
Yeah. No, I can see the point to make it play conservatively, go for the tie, stop them once, go to overtime. And then maybe you just win the toss and you score a touchdown and the game's over. It's not like Baltimore was doing a great job on stopping you. So that's another option, but that's a lot more factors going into it. Stopping the Ravens with 38 seconds, winning the toss, and then scoring a touchdown. So yeah, tough. But I want to pivot now to how this affects the fantasy world, if at all.
I think there's a lot of things that came out of this game. One really weird. Hopefully, it was just a bathroom break, but Lamar running back into the locker room for a minute,
Yeah.
came back out. What that was about, who knows? I'm gonna assume it was just a bathroom break, but maybe there's something there. But more importantly, um, the things on the Bengals side. One, you saw Joe Burrow nursing that same wrist. I think there was I may be mistaken. I think there was a clip where he went for his helmet with his injured hand and decided to go for it with the other one, but it didn't blow up like the water bottle did for
Oh, the
whatever
water bottle
reason.
blew up. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal, it seemed like to people, but I mean, he definitely got knocked around a lot. He got that hit from behind from Marlon Humphreys, and he got up, he was wincing, grimacing.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, their O line sucks. I mean, it did not do a good job at all. The Burrow got hit a lot.
and
Um,
I had a lot of trepidation. I didn't buy any shares of Burrow or Chase. I traded for Chase in one league, but I was hesitant because of their O-line and his health and all that.
yeah,
Even with all that, he has Jamar Chase currently as projected to finish the season as a Triple Crown winner.
yeah. He's leading the league with receptions, yards, touchdowns. I mean, not since Cooper Cup, right? So
So are
at
you
the end of the
holding
day,
Jamar Chase the rest of the season?
you got to, man. You got to. I mean, unless he's going to produce for you in fantasy regardless. I think he's shown it every single game this year. I mean, these are insane numbers. I mean, if you had Jamar Chase yesterday, you can just take the rest of the weekend off. There's practically no way you're losing unless you played against Burrow or Lamar. But no,
I
I mean that's a good point. I think Burrow could easily be shut down just to protect him. What's the point?
That's and that's exactly what my point was. As far as fantasy goes, as somebody who owns Jamar Chase, I was really disappointed that they came away with the loss last night because let's just say he takes another hard hit. It's not difficult to imagine a blindside hit coming around. He puts his hand out to brace himself,
Yep.
and now you've lost another game. You're that much further from 500, that much further from playoff contention. Does it make sense to keep trotting your, you know, face of the franchise quarterback out there game after game after game when you're losing? You have no hopes for the postseason, and I mean, at some point, you've got to just wrap it up and play for next
But
year, right?
look at what happened to Tyreek and Waddle without Tua, right? Without if they're playing backup quarterbacks, everyone's numbers are going to suffer, really. I mean, and then assuming Higgins comes back, obviously that eats into Chase's role a little bit, but um, look, I think the Bengals are good enough that they're going to be at least close to a playoff spot, and they'll be playing. Burrow getting injured is a different story, but. What about Baltimore? I mean, it was weird that Lamar only ran for 33 yards.
Real quick, before we
Um,
go to Baltimore, quick question for you. If your tight end starved, and let's just say all the Bengals tight ends are out there, are you picking up one? Are you picking up none? If you are
nah.
picking someone up, who are you picking up?
I mean, Mike Gesicki was the popular one after last week,
Last week,
but he didn't do anything yesterday for you. I don't know. Mike Gesicki. You know, he's been around in the league for a while. It's not like he's like a diamond in the rough where he's all of a sudden going to become a stud. I mean, he was on the Dolphins, then he's on the Bengals. He's moved around, the worst gritty in the league. Um, that is just, I don't think he's worth getting, to be honest. I wouldn't touch any Baltimore tight ends. They're too hit or miss.
Okay, fair enough. On to Baltimore, you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, either Lamar went to the bathroom or there's something wrong. He only ran for 33 yards. Most of it was on that one crazy play where he went back 20 yards and then up 30 yards. He ran like 58 yards or something like that on that one play. But that was only net of like 10 yards. So, um, I don't know. I obviously his passing was crazy. I mean, that's 25 to 33, 290, four touchdowns, almost a perfect quarterback rating. So,
I mean, I guess they've become the Cincinnati Bengals pass funnel defense,
yeah.
right? Um, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, a lot of long shots, a lot of, I mean, there was that broken play. Was
Yeah.
it Bateman or Flowers?
No, it was Tylan Wallace
Oh,
who had an 84-yard touchdown. So,
how many
I mean,
how many
100.
teams do you think were starting him last night?
Oh yeah, man. Nobody. Maybe his parents. Yeah.
Yeah, really weird. I mean, just kind of a weird game, right? Like it was really exciting. I mean, in terms of this box score, but um, a lot of penalties, a lot of big plays, a lot of broken plays. I didn't think that there was anything like really impressive that the Ravens showed off. Um,
No.
Mark Andrews continued to return to
Yeah.
form. But what was the deal with Deontay?
Oh man, what? I think he had one catch and then he failed to get out of bounds, and then he tweeted something cryptic on Twitter today or yesterday or last night. Yeah, that was kind of weird.
There's always more than one side to the story or something like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
No, there's not.
Yeah.
You're not on the Bengals or the Panthers
But
anymore,
he
and
he
they don't
just
need
he
you.
but he just got there. Maybe he just doesn't know the playbook.
What was
I,
their
I'll
play?
get
Their playbook seemed like it was just go.
that's true.
That was the playbook last night, right?
Yeah.
Just go. We'll find you.
Um, but yeah.
It was like that Friends episode, the Turkey Bowl episode,
Yeah.
when Ross just keeps telling Rachel to go deep.
Yep.
That seemed like it was, and to me that was kind of like, I guess, the concerning thing for the Bengals offense is how do you roster and roll out any of his pass catchers every week with a hope and a prayer?
Yeah. You got to. I mean, but they're studs though. Chase is a stud.
Yeah, I'm referring specifically to just the Baltimore receivers.
Oh, the
I
both. Yeah, none. I
I'm
mean,
not sure I want any of
may
them going into the playoffs.
no,
I'm
no.
selling. That's my main advice is try to find a sucker, try to find whoever, if you have like a Ravens fan in your league or a
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson homer, try to sell off any pass catchers from Baltimore that you can going forward because at the end of the day, what success looks like for this team, I mean, they just happen to feast because the Bengals let them feast, but success for this team looks like ground and pound, run the
Yep.
ball, get your tight ends out there blocking, and let Derrick Henry eat and Justice Hill whenever I guess they feel like it.
Especially Mark Andrews, man. I mean, he went from nothing, broken leg last year to nothing, and now he's maybe back to what he was before, but I don't know. I just don't trust him week to week.
Any value in rostering speculative ad for Keaton Mitchell?
I mean, he could. I mean, he did well before his ACL tear, but he's just coming back from ACL. I mean, why would you waste a roster spot on a potential second string running back who coming off an ACL tear?
Because you have J.K. Dobbins as your starting running back alongside Brian Robinson, and Brian Robinson is out, and Nick Chubb is on your bench, and he's on bye this week.
Uh no, but good thing you didn't pick him up. He didn't do nothing. I think he had one carry last night. So, but yeah, I think really besides the studs here, besides Chase, Lamar, Burrow, maybe Chase Brown if you're in a PPR, he got 9 catches last night. No one else here worth rostering. Try to sell as much as you can besides Lamar, Chase, and uh Burrow.
Maybe maybe a hot take here. I would be looking to sell any shares of Chase Brown that I can. Sell high.
Yeah.
Couple hot weeks. Um, Khalil Herbert. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't on the same page with Bro. He hit that handoff that he dropped, kind of just muffed it.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, for a team that's looking to hopefully get back on track, make a playoff run, making the move for the acquisition, there's something there. And what's there to me is RBBC. So you lose one member of your committee
yep,
and you bring in another. They don't trust Chase Brown in pass pro. So you're not going to be able to rely on him to be out there on all downs. Yeah, Khalil Herbert probably start off by spelling him. Who knows if his role expands?
yeah.
I'm not adding him, and if anything, my advice is sell off your shares of Chase Brown. See if you can't upgrade. Maybe package him with someone. Maybe package him with a Bengals receiver, and maybe lock in that last missing piece you need to hopefully secure like a first round bye or make a surprise run in the playoffs.
My last one. You could try to buy low on T. Higgins right now. Whoever has him is probably frustrated that he's been out with the hamstring. You can't even put him on an IR slot and so if he does come back next week, the week after, I mean, he's been a fantasy pretty consistent player. So
Man, T. Higgins is keeper league waiver wire or trade acquisition gold right now.
yeah,
If you're maybe gonna, the great thing is you're making the playoffs, you're missing the playoffs. Either way, if you're in a keeper situation, T. Higgins is a must add for me. If I'm somebody who's maybe like eighth seed, I might be looking at making her like just a do or die move for T. Higgins.
yeah,
The way that the Bengals, their frugality and how they handle contracts, I'd be very, very shocked if he remains on the roster next year.
yep. He'll be a number one on some other team next year for sure. They can't afford to pay Chase and T. Higgins.
Maybe the Niners.
Oh, no, they just sent Ayuk. They gotta pay Purdy.
You think Debo sticks around?
No, I think Debo. No, I think Jennings does enough to replace Debo where they can wait.
Okay. Okay.
Jennings, Pearsall. I think they'll be Debo's
Okay.
gone because he's too
I just had
expensive.
to I just had to say it to hopefully install the jinx because I'd hate to had to deal with our Niner fan friends if there was a Ayuk Higgins combo out there.
All right, brother.
All right.
All
I'll
right,
catch
man.
you next time.
Peace out.
All right, man.